So in the last class, what we were targeting to understand is to at what price the shares will be tendered by the shareholder. Now we imposed a condition that P has to be greater than Q. This is just to imply that we are concentrating on only value increasing takeover. In other words, the status quo profit, which is given by Q, which is a function of some activities taken by the existing manager, that is known as A1, that what the manager will choose. And in that case, the status quo profit that will happen is Q, and we are assuming that the shareholders will tender their shares if and only if P is greater than equal to Q. Under such circumstances, we have been talking about that. We have seen that how the free rider problem can actually create a situation that there will be no share tender, because everybody being rational individual will have perfect foresight and will be able to foresee that if the takeover is successful, they will be able to get a higher profit from holding those shares. So everybody will hold on, and because everybody will hold on, nobody will tender, so the raider will go back without able to get any shareholding in the company. So the value increment that could have supposedly taken place would not occur. So as a possible prescription or way out from this free rider problem, the suggestion is to allow dilution by the shareholder, and that dilution is entered in terms of a phi, and the shareholder's value will be Vs, which is equal to V minus phi. Now we'll be concentrating on what kind of the dilution factor the shareholders will introduce in their corporate charter in order to get the best value from holding their shares in this particular company. Now, best value means that whether to retain the manager and not allow any takeover to take place, or with some probability allow the takeover to take place, and all that possibilities of choices are to be made by the suitable choice of the phi factor that we will concentrate. So the tender price P has to be also greater than equal to V minus phi, because shareholders are assured of this particular Vs, which they will be able to get if the raid takes place and takeover is successful, and in that case they will be able to get some shared price which is Vs. So they know that I would not tender my share unless I get P greater than equal to that Vs. Okay, so that means my tender price now P will become max of the two, V minus phi or Q. Okay, so if the cost of the raid is C, then the raider's profit will be, the V will be the final profit that will be possible by the raider in terms of increasing the value, minus the amount of the tender price P, minus the cost of taking over C. So this V minus P minus C will be the profit of the raider, and that can be now with the substitution of P value, you can write like this, and which will become minimum of phi V minus Q minus C. Now this will be positive if phi and V minus Q both exceed Q. Okay, so and raid will take place under these conditions. Okay, so both of them need to be greater than C in order to have a positive profit for the raider, and if the profit of the raider is not positive, no raid will occur. Okay, so both P as well as V minus Q should be exceeding C. So that's the condition. So now look at the manager's utility function. Now manager has the option of choosing some activity A naught, which will determine the amount of status quo profit Q. Okay, now this Q is FA, F and F function of the choice A, and we have seen that Q is if A naught. So A naught is chosen from this particular action set A. Okay. So this is the idea. Okay. So now, so the utility function of the manager is UQ, which can be defined in the following manner. UQ provided that there is no rate. Okay. In the company will continue to remain in the management, and the old shareholders will be holding the shares. Okay, so the reader will not be successful in getting this thing, getting this company. Now, this particular definition is important. So now imagine that the V, the value, and the C, the cost, they are unknown. Okay, and if they are unknown, there will be some distribution of those C and V, and consider that FCV denote the distribution function of C tilde and V tilde, this random variable cost or the value. Okay, and then also define the probability of takeover, which is pi q is equal to probability that minimum. So that was our definition, that trader gets positive profit. This particular thing is greater than C tilde. Now you can easily imagine that when we have everything deterministic like those V and C here, then the outcome will be pretty straightforward, that we will discuss. But in case there is a distribution and joint distribution of C and V, then what you will get is that this particular probability will now depend on the distribution, whether there is a joint or independent distribution of V and C, depend on that joint distribution. Okay, so whether this particular set of values will be greater than C tilde, so that's the idea. So that will give you a probability of rate. Okay, so this is the idea that we will be focusing on. So if we take this definition as given, that there is a probability of rate, and that happens with those random variables generating the situation that this will occur. So before the rate, they will get to know, the reader will get to know about the V tilde and C tilde and decide whether to rate or not. So if this particular realized values are greater than Z, greater than this C tilde, then reader will rate, and in that case managers will be thrown out of the management. So the expected utility for the manager will then be UQ into 1 minus pi phi Q. So this gives you that managers are retained, that's the probability, and UQ, if they are retained, what would be the utility that the managers get. So this is the expected utility of the manager. So WQ is another definition to remember for the subsequent analysis. Now, so all the footnotes are also important, so please read them. Now what happens if both of them are non-stochastic? That means deterministic, so that means they have fixed value. Now if they have fixed value, then you know what would be the probability of rate. Now probability of rate is essentially a situation where this particular thing is greater than C tilde or not. Now if V and C are numbers which are deterministic, then reader knows that whether this particular condition is satisfied or not for sure. So which would mean that if this is satisfied for the given number V and the C, so then that means the probability of rate will be equal to 1. Okay. On the other hand, if this is not satisfied, the probability of rate will be 0. So then when they are deterministic, then it is straightforward that for a given choice of Q, either a rate occurs with certainty or no rate occurs. And how that is determined? That is determined by the profit of the raters. Okay, so that gives you that either pi phi Q is equal to 1 or pi phi Q is equal to 0. And it follows that as long as UV greater than 0, that means that with the radar's valuation, the utility of the manager is greater than 0, the manager will always choose Q large enough so that no raids ever takes place. Okay, so they might even mimic to choose that particular activity so that the valuation of the firm is becoming UV. Oh, sorry, the valuation of the firm is becoming V, and this is possible provided that UV is greater than 0. Now you might ask that, but why the UV can be negative? Now imagine that the implementation of certain plans and programs by the manager is so costly for the managers that this UV, that is implementing what the raters can do, is so costly that your UV is less than 0. Then you will never mimic to implement that V by yourself unless you are forced to. So if UV is less than 0, then obviously the manager is not interested to choose activity which can give V as the valuation. But if UV is greater than 0 and manager knows that being fired they will get 0, so they will try to choose even V as Q so that they are retained and no raid occurs. And as Q is increased, the probability of takeover goes down, and then the managers will be retained because there is no raid or takeover. Okay. However, the problem become interesting and different when V tilde and C tilde are stochastic. So in a sense, they have distribution, and as a result, managers with certainty cannot forestall a takeover. Okay. So by any choice of Q, unless that is in a situation of a complete dominance, that your V tilde and C tilde are such that that within the support, it is never possible to take over, then obviously managers can be happy. But otherwise, if B tilde and C tilde have support of the distribution and these are not known, they know the distribution but they don't know that realization, so the raid will occur with some probability. And that's the crux of this idea, that in a deterministic case things are pretty simple and straightforward, but in case there is uncertainty and the information that will be revealed is only to the raider, then the world becomes a situation of asymmetric information from the shareholder's perspective as well as from the managerial perspective of the existing company, and raider has the private information. So based on that, the manager would have some expectation about those B tilde and C tilde, and then they will choose their optimal action knowing that there is a positive probability of takeover, because the positive probability happens because of some valuation of B tilde and C tilde, which leads to the raiders having a positive profit. So for those values where the positive profits are possible, there will be a probability distribution, and then based on that probability, the raid will occur. Okay, so that's the idea of introducing this stochastic term on V tilde and C tilde. Okay, so that means valuation and cost are random elements, and before the raider actually venture into raid, it knows about the V tilde and C tilde and nobody else knows. Okay, so now come to the shareholder's valuation. Shareholder knows that there is a positive probability of takeover, and then the expected return for the shareholder is R phi, and that will be equal to Q is the status quo profit into the probability of no raid, plus this is what the value would be. And what this value is max of V tilde minus phi and Q. Okay, so this will be the valuation that will be obtained by the shareholders, and into the minimum of this. So this is the condition for positive profit for the raider. So the conditional on that positive profit, there will be this amount will be generated, and there will be a distribution over that. So based on that distribution, the expected profit to the shareholder will be given by this into the probability of takeover. So that is the probability of takeover. Okay, so this gives the shareholders expected returns expression. So is it clear what is happening? So you have on the one hand the probability of takeover, on the other hand you have the expected value of that shareholding. So in a sense the tender price. Okay, so that the max of these things. Okay, so these can take different values based on that this particular condition is satisfied, because B tilde and C tilde are random. For a set of values, this condition will be satisfied, and for those set of values, there will be a probability distribution. Based on that, the shareholders will be able to calculate their expected profit for those valuations with probability distribution, and then there is a probability of takeover that is being multiplied. So this will overall become the expected profit to the shareholder. Okay. However, if there is no rate, and that happens when the raider's profit is negative, so the market value of the firm equals the profit of the firm Q. Okay, so that's clear. So alpha is the value at which the firm shares sell in the market before it is known whether or not a takeover bid is going to occur. Okay, so this is in a situation of asymmetric information where people are having expectations about those distributions and the values, and then this is the expected valuation of the shares and at which this particular company's shares will be traded in the market. Okay, but post facto rate things will be different. Okay, so because here you can see that if there is no rate, there is some probability attached and there is profit, but conditional on rate things will change. Okay, so that you will be seeing later. So here the look at the trade-off. Trade-off is that if phi changes, how R phi is changes. Okay, as phi increases, the value of shares in the event of a raid, the tender price decreases. Okay, because what is phi? Phi is the dilution factor introduced by the shareholders in the company charter, which allows the raider to dilute the value of the improved value of the share in the company, that is V. So from V, phi amount can be diluted by the raider. Okay, so if phi increases, that means you are allowing the raider to decrease the value of the firm, and that affects your tender price. Okay, because as phi goes up, tender price falls. That's the definition of your tender price. Okay, at the same time, the probability of raid increases, because if you increase phi, that means in expected sense you are making it more profitable for the raider based on the valuation that they realize, that it is more likely that they will find it profitable. Okay, if phi is increased. So this trade-off is there, and so an increase in phi reduces the amount of shareholder gain from any particular raid, but it increases the number, that means the probability of raid. So is it clear? So now you also looked at Q, which is essentially the status quo profit. This also depends on phi. Why? Because your choice of Q, which will maximize the manager's expected utility, will depend on this probability. Okay, so the manager will choose Q depending on maximization of this particular expected value, that is probability of no rate and the utility that they derive being in the position of the manager. Okay, so as phi increases, it makes the raid easier, so that prompts the manager to take certain actions which will maximize this WQ. So that means they will allow the raid to happen with some probability, but they will optimize based on this product term. Okay, and you have the standard assumption that UQ is actually strictly concave and all those nitty-gritties. Now these are important observations, and they are represented in terms of proposition. So Q phi is non-decreasing in phi. So what is Q phi? Q phi is the value of status quo profit, which is a function of phi. Okay. Now, as an increase in phi has three effects, so the proof is given in the appendix, and I think it is somewhat complicated, so you can check that. Okay. So an increase in phi has three effects. Now that is easy to understand. For a given status quo profit Q, it reduces the tender price offered by the raider if he chooses to raid. Okay, so as phi increases, tender price goes down. That we have seen because it is the max of V minus phi and Q. And hence the amount that the shareholder receive from any particular rate. Okay, so shareholder gets lower profit, lower price of the shares if phi is increased. It increases the number of raids that takes place for any status quo profit. So given any Q, your phi Q will actually go up, okay, as phi decreases. Sorry, as phi increases. Third is, it increases the return to shareholder in the event there is no raid. Okay, so how that is possible? Because given that there is a, if phi increases, the probability of raid goes up, so the managers are on their toes in terms of performing, because they know that with higher probability raid will now take place. So they will try their best to maximize Q. Okay, so that way your 2 and 3 effects are good for the shareholder, but the one, that is the tender price effect of phi, is going in the opposite direction. So the overall balance will determine what would be the optimal phi in this particular context. Okay, and Q phi is non-decreasing in phi, so which means that as phi goes up, so that improves the possibility of raid. Now that that has a stronger effect in that sense, that Q phi is going to go up. Okay. Then second proposition. Now we are breaking this proposition into two parts. Imagine that we have started off with V tilde and C tilde being both stochastic, but now having both of them stochastic and working with the conditional expectation, we might lose some of the basic intuition related to that. So for that, we are breaking this into two parts. One is that only V tilde is non-stochastic and C tilde is stochastic. What is happening? If V tilde, sorry. Oh, just a moment. Where is the C? It's in the next proposition. Yeah. So the propositions are somewhat differently organized. So first proposition is that C tilde takes a definite deterministic value C with probability 1, and also imagine that V also takes a fixed value V. Okay. So then already we have discussed. So if UV is greater than 0, then it is optimal for the initial shareholder to choose any phi such that phi greater than C at any optimal phi, no raids takes place, because the managers, existing managers, because UV is greater than 0, would like to implement that V value in the existing company. So even if you choose your phi greater than C, which will allow the raid to take place, but even then your existing managers would live up to your expectations and they will actually choose V, so that you do not need to have any takeover for UV to be, sorry, for V, the relation of V as the value. So proposition A to A, this tells you that under deterministic world, provided that managers, by implementing what the raider can implement, is giving them a positive payoff, the managers will be willing to implement that value V. Okay. And simply by keeping a threat of takeover phi greater than C, you are able to, the shareholders are able to get V as the value realization from the existing company. Okay. And as a result, then no raid will occur. Now go to the second part. Here we are assuming that V tilde is a random number. So it is stochastic and it has a marginal distribution which is not degenerate. So that means we are having some distribution of V tilde, and we have already assumed that C takes only one value. So here we are not allowing both of them to change in proposition to B part. Only V is allowed to change. Okay, it is a random variable, can take any value, but C takes a fixed value. Now, what are the outcomes? Now, initial shareholders will want to choose phi to maximize the tender price in the event of a raid subject to phi greater than C. This is accomplished by setting phi greater than C, but as close to C as possible. So you can, so if you write in today's 20th century economics terminology, you know that this is essentially in terms of a closure problem. So we will be talking about that optimal phi will be equal to C, and still whatever the modeler is trying to do is going to happen. Okay. So the phi will be taken to be greater than equal to C, and since it will be chosen at the minimum, so phi will be equal to C as the optimum choice. Okay, raids will generally take place and Q phi is constant for all phi equal to C. Okay. So these are the different components of the propositions. This is happening when V tilde is stochastic, and under that circumstances, you can see that there will be probability of raid. Okay. So now what is happening? My C is fixed. My V tilde can take different values and it has a distribution. Sorry. So imagine that phi is less than C. Where is that? Okay, so that's the second part. Okay, so first imagine that phi is greater than C. So what does that mean? That you are allowing the raid to take place. Okay, because that will mean that this particular tender price, the way the phi will affect, will give the raider a positive profit, because this minimum phi V minus Q is greater than C, the cost of takeover. Okay. Now, if phi is greater than C, that means that this particular condition will hold only when V minus Q is greater than C. Okay. So under that circumstances, this particular condition will be satisfied, and now this V minus Q greater than C, your C is a fixed number, Q is a fixed number, and V is a random variable. So you can easily see that this particular condition will be satisfied given that V has a distribution. So for those values of V, this particular condition is satisfied, we will have a probability, okay? And that is pi phi Q, which is constant for all phi greater than C. So is it clear? Because this is finally derived from particular this expression that I have some V distribution, okay? And then V, that V tilde has to be greater than C plus Q. So above C plus Q, all the numbers, sorry, all the B's that will be there will have a fixed probability, and that is exactly the probability in which the raid will take place. So is it clear?
But sir,
Okay.
isn't this
And
the
in
first
that
part?
case, when you are choosing phi greater than C, your R phi will be equal to Q phi and is constant for all phi greater than C. Because if you go back to your R phi definition, you will find that my R phi has these probabilities being fixed when I choose my phi greater than C. So everything becomes fixed. So R phi becomes a constant. Okay. And that's it. Okay, so as phi greater than C, then this is satisfied, and that gives you a fixed probability of rate pi phi q, and therefore your R phi will become Q phi, which is constant for all phi greater than C. Okay, so if you choose the dilution factor which is just greater than C, then you allow the rate with a fixed probability and everything is in place. Now UV is greater than 0, so that's the starting point for this. So if UV is greater than 0, so that means that existing managers can implement UV without any hassle, because if they don't implement, there will be raid with probability, and then they will be fired from the job. So as a result, given that they are getting some positive payoff by implementing what the raiders can implement, they will implement that thing. So as a result, in this particular context, then there will be no raid. Okay. So by choosing phi greater than C with UV greater than 0, you are able to see that there will be no raid. Now what happens if phi less than equal to C? That is the choice. Then by phi, no raid takes place, so that in this case R phi equal to Q phi. Okay, so if phi is less than equal to C, then it is not worthwhile for the raider to raid because it is getting negative profit. Okay, and if negative raid, if no raid takes place, then your R phi will become Q phi. Okay, and then we know that by choosing phi greater than C, your R phi is greater than Q phi, because then you have a probability of raid which probability of raid which improves the payoff greater than Q. Okay, so here there is probably the payoff is Q. Here this is greater than Q by choosing phi greater than C. So it is optimal to choose phi greater than C. Choosing phi less than equal to C is not optimal. Okay, so is not a phi less than equal to C is not optimal, and if phi is greater than C, then this is greater than, so it is profitable for the raider to raid, and if phi is greater than C, then you know that the only way this is satisfied. Now I will advise that you just work out the proof yourself and write it up, because these papers are written in the long history, right? 1998, 1980. So as a result of that, many of the things are slightly haphazard in those days. Okay, that's because that gives them higher expected payoff. Okay, so that's the idea. So you are done with phi greater than C, but then the question is that how much greater? You know that the tender price itself is a negative function of phi, okay, because of this tender price definition. So you should try to reduce your phi, but still keep it greater than C. And as I told you that in today's, if you write this paper now, you will say that my raid will take place even with, as a tie-breaking condition, even with phi equal to C. And in that case, your optimal choice will be phi greater than C. So that's your that's the closure of this particular argument, and phi will be equal to C is the optimal choice in this context. Okay. So that gives you that what happens if V tilde is a stochastic term. Now what happens if C tilde is a stochastic term, but V tilde is a deterministic term? So it takes a value V which is happening with probability 1. Okay, so then you look at what is happening to the tender price. Tender price is P, this is the tender price. Now the proposition 3 tells you that then you should choose the optimal phi to choose is infinite. Okay, so that means essentially this is to represent that you give the reader the supreme power of dilution. So it can actually dilute the entire company to 0. That's also allowed. Okay, so you allow the supreme power to the raider in case the raid takes place. So that's your optimal choice. Okay, and if phi is chosen to be very large, so then this part is not binding. So you know that your tender price will be exactly equal to Q, okay, because of this functional relationship. Or another optimal thing will be to choose phi to maximize this. And what is this? This is V minus phi in case phi is greater than C tilde. So that means this is the probability of rate, okay, and this is the optimal pay of the shareholders will get, okay, V minus phi, provided that this V minus phi is greater than Q, and plus Q star into probability phi less than equal to C tilde. So this is again the probability of rate, sorry, this is probability of no rate because phi is less than C tilde less than cost. So there will be no rate. And in that case, Q star will be what the status quo chosen by the manager. So either the shareholder in their corporate charter would choose very high phi, or they will choose some phi to maximize this expression 9. Okay. And what is this Q star? Q star is the unconstant utility maximizing profit for the manager, and Q star solves UQ simply, okay, not the WQ. Remember that WQ was the expected payoff. So actually for the manager, it is adequate for under this C tilde being random. It is adequate to choose a level of activity so that a particular Q star is obtained, and that Q star will be obtained simply by maximizing UQ, not the expected WQ. Okay. So then you can follow this proof. This proof part is somewhat complicated and tricky. So what should I do? I would rather prefer not to cover this as a part of the proof. Okay. So, but I'll ask you to actually go through some of the questions that were there in the previous years on this so that you can directly handle those questions. So idea is very simple, that your shareholders' main objective function is to maximize their shareholders' profit. Okay. So this R phi is definitionally is the only definition for maximization of the shareholders value by choosing phi. But as they choose phi, they also know what kind of takeover possibility emerges, what type of raiders will take over, and then that perfect Bayesian equilibrium based on that, what are the values of V for which the takeover will take place. So they will have the conditional expectation, and that's how the shareholders will optimally choose phi in this particular context. So when C tilde is random, I am not doing the proof of this proposition, which is in terms of these 1 and 2, these two things, but I'm asking you to read and try your hands with the some of the questions that are there in the earlier years. Okay, clear? Okay, so whatever I'm mentioning in the class, that should be kept in mind. And I get many emails asking about things, but nowadays, given that in the question paper, I am not going to ask you to write the proof. I will give you a problem to which this proof will help you to solve. Okay. So there will be numerical problems or some distribution which is explicitly given, and then you will be asked to determine the optimal value of Q star, optimal value of phi star in this particular context. Okay. So just look at some of the past papers and then try to work out some of the examples that are given there in the question paper. Okay. So here there is another dimension to this problem, but we are not going to concentrate on any. Teacher is not going to help for any course, because then there is the possibility of omission in the midterm exam. In the has written something which part to why other
Yes.
any other course register, they should If there
Second
is no
paragraph,
rate, it
last
occurs
line.
to rate simply by choosing V. So Q equal to V, provided that your UV is greater than 0. So that means you know that I can allow the raid to take place by choosing low Q, and then raid will occur with probability 1, but then I am fired, and if I am fired I get 0 of the utility. Okay, so I have a binary choice now whether to remain in the job or to be fired. Now I can, to do that, I have the two choices available. I give the number to the shareholders. That means I choose my activity A such that a particular queue is generated. Everybody gets to know about that queue. Okay, and then the shareholders tender all their shares to the raider and raid takes place. Okay, but on the other hand, raid takes place with probability 1, and I, being the manager, I am not going to get anything. So my Q by choosing that particular queue will be equal to 0 because I am fired. Okay, so I am not getting any utility, but I have the possibility of creating the same value improvement as the raider will do. And if I do that, if my utility from doing that is greater than 0, then under non-stochastic case, why should I be fired? Because I know that if I am fired, I get equal to 0 utility. But if I am not fired and implement what the raiders can do, then I will get positive utility. Then again the manager will implement Q equal to V, and in that case no raid will again occur. So is it clear? So no raid takes place under that situation where the managers can actually implement V so that UV is greater than 0 under deterministic case. Clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So I understand this paper because of 1980 is slightly badly written. So my advice is that you just create and prepare a note based on what is important, because in many of the paragraphs you will find only 2-3 lines are very important and that will immediately follow in terms of logic, but rest of them are actually the language which is somewhat confusing. Okay, clear?
Sir, I had another doubt.
Tell me.
Hello? Yeah. So we're saying that P is equal to max of V minus phi comma Q.
Where
So,
you are? Can you point me out somewhere?
okay. Page 47, equation 4.
Page 47, equation 4. P equal to max of B minus phi and Q. Tell me.
So, sir, if it is the case that Q is greater than V minus phi, so that max will be equal to Q, in that case, the status quo value is greater than what the shareholders will get from the raid. So, will the raid even take place?
Right. Why? The raid will not take place?
Because they're already getting a better value than what the shareholders will get after the raid.
No, but the reader will also give the same value Q. And shareholders being indifferent can simply surrender
Alright.
their shares. Okay, and what the fee doing here? Fee is actually chosen by the shareholder. Shareholder is choosing this fee to manipulate the probability of raid, because you can see after when you look at B tilde and C tilde, this fee is very critical, which actually determines the probability of raid, because pi phi q, if you remember. Okay, because that gives you this particular positivity of this particular equation 5, and where V tilde and C tilde are random terms. Okay, so given the p-value, you are finally ending up with this. Here you can see that your C tilde, your V tilde are actually interacting in a manner that whether this particular expression will be positive or not is very much dependent on how you are choosing your phi. There can be flat functions, so for some values of phi, it may not affect the equation, but for some values of phi, it will affect the equation. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if that happens, the shareholders can simply, that's why in one case you will see that fee is taken to be very large, and in fact the authors have pointed out that fee can be infinity. Okay, so what does that mean? That means that the shareholders may be very much willing to dilute their shareholding under raiders, okay, in order to maximize the probability of raid and given the queue that will be there chosen by the existing manager. So imagine that there are interactions going on between three different types of agents. One is raiders from outside who will behave and raid and offer the tender price. There is manager who is actually influencing the existing queue under the threat of fee, and the V and the C that is coming from outside his control. Fee is controlled by shareholder. V and C are coming from the raiders' realization of their values and cost of takeover. So there is these three-way interactions going on. So everybody is trying to maximize their own utility given these three-way interactions. And shareholders, when they're choosing fee, they might find it worthwhile to choose phi to be very large. Okay, that's how, so that it is never become a constant for the raider to raid. Okay, then what will act as a constant? Then if phi is very large, q will act as a constant, but that q is chosen by the existing managers, and that is going to affect favorably to the shareholder, because q then will be bumped up in order to reduce the probability of raid by the existing manager. Okay, so is it clear that there are few way interactions going on and everybody's objective is different, right? Okay, any question or comment? So in next class we will be doing Slifer and Wisney. I have already told you that this is the process which we will follow. So let me give you a brief outline of what we are going to do in the next class. So this particular paper is happening because of the simple reason that there is free rider problem among the shareholders. Everybody wants the share to the takeover to take place, and the value of the company should go up, so that each of them holding some amount of shares atomistically held, they are able to get some higher amount of payoff. Okay, but none of them individually will have incentive to tender their shares, because they know that the value of the shares will go up in the future. Okay, so everybody will hold on, and because of that holding on, nobody will tender, and free rider problem will lead to that no takeover ever takes place. Okay, so then the dilution factor is thrown in as a possible solution to this free rider problem, and shareholders will then be forced to tender their shares. But remember that this phi, the dilution factor, is embedded in the company charter. So shareholder in their own interest in the initial period as a part of commitment device is actually optimally deciding on the phi in the company charter. So is that clear? So dilution factor is just a simple solution of the free rider problem, which is done by the shareholder themselves. Okay. So now this problem of free rider problem, you have seen that in many of the other contexts, including the standard public good problem, where you typically find there is free rider problem, right? And so the problem of street light and various of other contexts. But this particular free rider problem, the way Grossman-Hart has elaborated here, has a very significant link with some of the controversies that you have heard in 5-6 years back related to Land Acquisition Act. So you remember that many of the land, given the productivity of the agriculture, should be converted into more productive activities, and that is typically considered as either service sector or industry, because in a small plot of land, the number of employment that can be generated is many more as compared to simple agricultural activity and production. Okay, but then the problem arises, and that many of you are aware of, is that the acquiring of the land becomes very difficult. Okay. And why it is difficult? Because everybody is trying to hold out from this arrangement, because if tomorrow there is a big factory or a big hotel or a big IT hub is set up next to my plot of land, then I know that by very definition, my land will increase its value tremendously. Okay, because today it is one hotel, next day on my own land there will be another hotel who will be approaching me, and the hub will be created in that area. So everybody wants to wait and hold out from this arrangement of value improvement in any large locality, and so that creates a sorry, similar kind of problem as we see in the company takeover problem. So here every shareholder is feeling that let there be takeover, okay, but I would hold out. I would hold out and appropriate the gain that will come on the way because of the value improvement in the company. Similarly, everybody wants that in their adjacent land there should be plenty of economic activity and the place become really a big megacity or big industrial area. But I would not surrender my land right now. I will wait and until those development take place, and then my value of the land will go up. So good quality road, good quality connectivity or communication and everything. But then everybody thinks in the same way in that area. So nobody will have any incentive to actually tender or surrender their land to a common developer who would be willing to develop that land and make many times of the returns that the current activity of that land is in that land is happening. Okay, so it is the same problem that you face, and that is already elaborated very nicely in this particular paper 1980, and you are able to see the reflection of that in the recent development 4-5 years back in the land acquisition cases. Plenty of protest from the farmer and all that. Okay, then what could be the way out? Way out is either you make them the stakeholder, that means shareholders of the land that you are acquiring, okay, so that the future, whatever be the value, they all get some dividend and they remain the shareholders of those companies in some way. So then that will partly solve their problem of this surrendering land. Okay, and also there are other ways to solve is that you give them much more compensation in a way that they are all happy. But remember that if you are aware of this Grossman-Hart story, no amount of compensation can fetch you that land. If everybody, every farmer or the landowner is smart and able to foresee all the development that will take place in future, then the value of that land or the returns on that land will be all foreseen, and they will expect that. And if they expect that, and if to develop that land there is a cost, then obviously for the raider or the acquirer or the developer, that profit will be negative if they give away all the profit that can be generated on those land. So no acquisition will ever take place. And then there lies this additional dimension that the government might need to come in order to acquire those lands, and those created many of the flutter and controversies in the recent context 5-6 years back. Okay, so there are links. Now in the next paper we will be talking about something which I am holding on today, and we will be talking in the next class to solve this kind of problem in a manner the way public good problem is also to some extent solved. Do you have any questions or comment on this? So should I then stop here and close the session? Okay, so then I'm closing the session for today, and we will be back again on Friday.